Hello, and welcome back to Parenting Team Podcast, the space where I like to make parenting feel a little less lonely, hopefully a little more understandable, and a lot more compassionate. Raising teens has never been easy. In today's episode, I've decided to focus on anger, and more importantly, when it's focused at you, and how actually anger is sometimes hiding anxiety. So today's episode is for the parents who have ever thought, why is my child so angry with me? What did I do wrong? And why does everything turn into a battle? Because here's something many parents don't get told enough. Often what looks like anger is actually anxiety, looking for somewhere safe to land. And unfortunately, or perhaps beautifully, that somewhere safe is usually you as their parent. Today's episode is told as a Dear Diary entry because sometimes the most powerful learning comes from hearing ourselves in someone else's story. And throughout this episode, I'll guide you through 3 key things to think about and practice when anxiety shows up as anger, especially when it's being directed at you. So let's begin. Dear Diary, today was hard. After school, I could tell something wasn't right the moment my teenager walked in the door. The usual bag hits the floor, shoes kicked off, no hello, no eye contact, just that feeling of tension. And I did like I always do, gently asking, "How was your day?" And at that point, it was like lighting a match. Fine! Sharp, loud, defensive. So I tried again, which I now know is mistake number 1, apparently. "You don't sound fine." And then it came. "Why are you always on at me? Just leave me alone." God, the anger felt enormous, massively out of proportion. It was almost shocking. And if I'm honest, dear diary, it really hurt. Because I spent all day working to try and keep the lifestyle and the house that they know and love. I've been thinking about them because I know they're a bit off at the minute. I've even started planning dinner that I know they're going to like. And now somehow I was the enemy. My chest tightened as I think about it. And I could feel my own anger rising and that ever familiar thought in my head. God, really? After everything I do for you? But luckily, something inside me paused, and I remembered something important that I'd heard on an awesome podcast before. That even when things that get thrown at me feel deeply personal, even when it's shouted and directed straight at me, even when the finger is poking straight in my face with the accusation, I know it is rarely about me. Children and teens especially do not yet have the emotional wiring to say, "Today was so overwhelming. I felt really embarrassed in class. I'm really worried my friends don't like me. Everything just feels too much." Instead, their nervous system goes into protection mode. And I hope you all know that anger is a very powerful protector. Anger says, push people away before they see that you're struggling. This will make sure that you stay in some sort of control. Being vulnerable is not going to help. But here's the paradox. Children only release these big emotions where they feel safest. So if you're the target, it often means that you're their safest place. Not their punching bag, but their anchor. So at this point, I took a breath. Actually, if I'm honest, I took several breaths. And instead of reacting, I tried to remind myself silently, this is their way of communicating, not an attack. Later that evening, dinner was, well, tense to say the least. Every question I tried to ask to open it up was met with just a one-word answer. I could see the eye rolls, the impatience, or the sighs that were dramatic enough to be in theatre. I could feel my patience was thinning. And then came the moment. Why are you looking at me like that? I hadn't even realised my face had hardened. But now I think about it, my brows were tight. My jaw was a bit set. I know my eyes had narrowed. And the strangest thing, because in my head, I thought I was calm. I was trying to help. But clearly my face was telling a different story. And this brings me to the second thing I want every parent to remember. Managing your emotions is so important because you are teaching your teen even when you are silent. Children, without a doubt, borrow regulation from us. They can feel what we're feeling and they can sense a vibe from us straight away, before a word is even uttered. They don't learn emotional control from what we say or what they're taught at school. They learn it from what we do, what we model. If we meet anger with anger or defensiveness with defensiveness, or as is usually the case, volume with volume, we're accidentally teaching this is how conflict works. Big feelings are dangerous and connection disappears when emotions arrive. So in that moment, dear diary, I did unclench my jaw. I dropped my shoulders a little bit and I tried to soften my eyes. I made sure I was lowering my voice, and this helped me to lower my defences. Because defensiveness turns conversations into battlegrounds. I know this. And curiosity can then build bridges. So in that moment, I have found it works to ask myself, what is my face saying right now? What is my body communicating? Am I escalating or am I regulating myself to show how this can be done? Remember, your calm is not weakness. It is leadership. So the turning point came. Dear diary, the spiral began over something tiny. Homework. Or what looked like homework to start with. But suddenly we weren't talking about homework anymore. We were in a full emotional tornado. Every sentence I said was being twisted. Every suggestion rejected or huffed at. And I can now see we were looping round and round, faster and faster, and they were getting louder and louder. And then I remembered the question, the one that interrupts spirals, the one that shifts the brain from defense to reflection. I sat down beside them, not towering above, standing there, annoyed, and I asked gently, what do you need from me right now? Not, why are you behaving like this? Not, what is wrong with you? What's going on? And not even, I need you to calm down right now. Just, what do you need from me? And there was a pause, a long one, that I struggled with, if I'm honest. But then quietly, I got the response, I don't know. Which, by the way, is often the most honest answer you're going to get. So I tried to offer some options that might help. Do you want me to just sit with you? Help you? Or do you want some space? I can listen without trying to fix and solve all of these issues for you. And at that point, something shifted. I'm not going to lie, the storm didn't vanish instantly, but it kind of softened, got a bit gentler. So key thought number 3 is to stop the spiral and regulate the moment that you're in. I'm sure you are in a place where you can recognize when emotions are escalating, and that at this point, all logic seems to disappear. You can't reason with a nervous system that's in fight or flight. So it's important to always focus on regulation before resolution. How are you going to calm them down? How are you going to show them that they're safe? Because that's why they're doing this with you. How do you reinforce that message? that it's okay for them to feel angry and it's okay to feel anxious. It's just about working out how to get away from this, feel your feelings, and work through it. And here are some ways that you can do this when you're with your teen that is starting to get angry. First step, always sit down. Standing in front of anybody, even standing when someone else is standing, can feel really confrontational. As soon as you sit, it's a signal of safety. Then slow everything down. Your speech, your breathing, your movements, all of it. As you show this calmness, it will become contagious. Say less when they are in this space. Parents often like to over-explain when they're anxious, justify and defend. But in this time, fewer words always equals less pressure. And the key message that I know I say a lot, and that I struggle with myself if I'm honest, is to validate them before trying to solve anything. Try things like, something feels like it's really hard for you right now. I can see you're getting overwhelmed. I'm here, and I'm here to listen. Validation doesn't mean agreement. It means understanding, and understanding calms the brain. It lowers the defenses in them when they see that your defenses are not up, and actually you're in a place of curiosity and understanding. Dear Diary, the whole realisation. Later that night, I replayed the day, and it hit me. My child didn't need a perfect parent today. They actually just needed a regulated one, someone who was calm and okay to understand. They needed someone who wouldn't take their anxiety personally, who wouldn't mirror their anger, and importantly, wouldn't abandon connection with them when things got uncomfortable for me. And let's be honest, dear diary, I am also learning very fastly that this takes practice, because parenting activates my own childhood wounds, my own triggers, my own fears of getting it wrong. So here are a few extra anchors to carry with you. Some gentle reminders for parents when you're feeling like things are getting out of control and your teen's anxiety is showing up as anger. I encourage you to look for the feeling behind the behaviour. Anger is so often just fear wearing armour. It's a feeling that they're not comfortable with, and sometimes anger can change that feeling from fear to some sort of control, and they can pass over some of that anxiety to you. Always look for connection before correction. Your relationship is so important with your teen, especially during moments like this. Their brain is searching around them to find examples that their worst fear is really coming true. They aren't good enough. They are awful. Nobody likes them. They keep getting things wrong. It's all their fault. So look for ways to show them that the connection with you is unbreakable. You are there for them and you are their safe place. So try to build that connection before correcting anything to do with what you've just seen. Don't ever chase the argument. You don't have to attend every fight you're invited to. Just because they're in a place of frustration and annoyance doesn't mean you need to take on their feelings. Before they walked in the door, you were potentially feeling okay. So why now would you take on their feelings to actually take away that feeling of safety that they're so craving? And repair matters far more than perfection. If you react, you're just human. But do make sure you come back later. Things like, oh, I so wish I'd handled that differently. I'm really sorry. Can we try that again? Repairing your relationship is important. Showing your teen you're not perfect is important, and going to repair with them builds stronger trust than ever any rupturing will bring. And first and foremost, when you face these situations, recognize the need to regulate yourself first. And a quick question to ask: am I reacting or am I responding? Reacting comes from emotion. Responding comes from intention. And when you're aware that you have a choice for each of these, it can start to make these situations so less painful, not only for you who is feeling it directly, but also for your teen who's going through a difficult moment. Dear Diary, before bed, they hovered near me. That universal signal for, are we all right? Are things okay? And I smiled, softly this time, to which they leaned in. I got a quick hug. Then, sorry I was so annoyed earlier. Not a dramatic apology, but a brave one that I really recognise and appreciate. And in that moment, I realised something amazing. When we don't take anxiety-driven anger personally, we leave the door open for reconnection. So let's bring this one home with a few key points for you to remember. When anxiety comes out as anger, remember your 3 anchors. Number 1, it's not personal. It's a style of communication from a very overwhelmed nervous system in your teenager, and it is more than likely masking something else underneath it, of which potentially none of that is anything to do with you. Number 2, manage your own emotions, because your child is learning. They're learning emotional safety from you. So watch your face in the nicest possible way. Work on ways that help you to lower your defenses, and lead the calm by doing things that will help them to de-escalate themselves. If you're really stuck, ask the killer question: what do you need from me right now? Then regulate the moment before ever trying to fix it. Parenting is not about preventing emotional storms. It's just about becoming the safe harbour, the anchor. And if today is hard, if you've lost your patience recently, if you've reacted instead of responded, you're not failing. You're helping your child who is potentially feeling very out of control at the moment and hugely overwhelmed, while you're trying to be a parent who's potentially never been here before or just feels so almightily stuck in the spiral. So be gentle with yourself too. If this episode resonated with you, please feel free to share it to another parent who might just need a reminder that as a parent, you're not the target, you're the safe place. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and thanks if you're listening this far in. If you've got any comments or ideas for future episodes, I'd love to hear them, so please feel free to leave a comment. Things like this and more is covered in my book. Don't panic, it's just a teenager. If it will be of interest of you to buy, I'll leave a link in the comments too. Thanks ever so much for listening, and I hope you have a cracking day.